Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge, and today, this week, for this series, we're going to be talking about how you can retain your drivers, why drivers are not just a number, and I gotta tell you, folks, this is even more important in 2026, because if you've been in the industry at all for a long time, or if you've been reading about what goes on in the industry, you know we're having some real big challenges, especially with new drivers and people coming into the country that are trying to get a job, trying to make a better life, and getting kind of wrapped up in some of these scams and chameleon carriers and all that. We talked a lot about that before on how to find a job in our previous series, but today we're going to talk about if you've got drivers and you like them, this is why you should keep them. So before we get into that, though, let me tell you about a company that's all about keeping their drivers, and they are looking for owner-operators right now. Bison Transport. That's right. They're looking for owner-operators. You know them as a large fleet across North America. But there's some cool things to be an owner-operator with them. They get discounts on things like fuel, maintenance, tires. They've got support staff that can help you and kind of guide you so you can be successful. You know what? Today's world of business is very hard to do it on your own. And if you can do it with a team, then you're doing way better than most. So check out bisondriving.com to see all the opportunities currently available, and make sure you tell them that we sent them over at the Lead Pedal Podcast. Also, let me tell you a little bit about Harnois. You guys heard about Harnois Énergies? You know they're opening that new truck stop at exit 230 on Highway 401 in Woodstock, Ontario. Now, there was a former truck stop chain there. They've gone out for the last few years, so it's good to see something coming out. This is going to be an SO card lock, so if you're looking to get a SO card for yourself, go to harnoisenergies.com. You can go into the show notes to find that out. You can also call them at 1-800-363-2712. All right, let's get into our episode.
Be sure to share the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
All right, so we are going to get into why you should be thinking about your drivers here, why drivers are not just numbers. This is how a lot of people feel, and I've got to tell you, folks, there's a reason for why some companies, some drivers, I should say, prefer to work for family-style carriers, and there's a difference between the two. There's large carriers, there's family style. Both have their pluses and minuses, but a lot of drivers like that family style feel, and I'll tell you why. It's because you don't feel like a number. They feel like part of the team, and usually you get specialized equipment. You can kind of get dedicated into what you do. You may not make as much money, or you may make more money depending on the carrier, but you can feel individual. And this is what a lot of truck drivers got into the industry for. They got into the industry to feel more successful and to feel more individual. And when you go to a larger company, that's very hard. That's why they say drivers are not numbers. You become, instead of becoming Bruce Outridge, you become truck number 1452 going to Winnipeg. That's not how you want to feel. And a lot of large companies try not to do that. And I can tell you that Bison and a number of others are doing it by making it individual. You'll have individual dispatch. You'll have individual support staff, people that actually know who you are, and running smaller teams within a larger team. That's a good way to do it for sure. But a lot of drivers feel like numbers. They're measured by how many miles did you do. Truck number X is doing so many miles, truck Z is doing so many miles. Which one's better? Really, the person who ran more miles, which is encouraging someone to be unsafe and to keep going past maybe their regulated hours because they are trying to prove that they are better. A lot of times, on-time delivery. This is a big one for everybody, and I got to tell you, as a driver, if you want to brand yourself right away, being on time can be the biggest thing to do. If you are on time, boy, you're saving the company's butt in so many ways. You're saving their brand identity. You're saving that load. You're saving additional charges. You're also helping yourself as far as getting backhauls. And if you do that consistently as a driver, man, you are going to be somebody they can depend on, and you're going to find that you're getting more loads than anybody else. A lot of times drivers just feel like it's by their fuel numbers, whatever number, card that you used is the number. And because in the office, that's numbers have a place. We use numbers in our small team too. Numbers have a place because numbers are easy to manage and track and understand where things are, but it doesn't make someone feel more individual. And so a lot of drivers, if a company is focused on numbers, things like miles, on-time delivery, only fuel numbers, compliance, scores, it just becomes numbers, and you don't even know the people's names. And so it's not really what we want as far as the drivers. Now, drivers, they expect to be treated a certain way. Some of them have expectations. I'll say sometimes it's the driver's problem that's got that too. How often are they listened to? These are some of the things that you might want to see. Are you doing these well? Do they have safety concerns, and are they being respected, or does it look like it's whining? I can tell you, on being on both sides, folks, I've been a driver and I've been on the management side. I was a supervisor for a fleet. Once you are on both sides, you see a totally different perspective than if you're just on one side or the other. So I would encourage you, if you are in a trucking company, that you can take that knowledge that you have on one side and maybe go for a ride along or go on a trip, or if you're the other way, if you're a driver, go and sit in the office for a day and see what goes on in operations and all that, because it's a totally different perspective that I found by showing people both sides. It's a great way to understand exactly what's going on the other side. But drivers, when they feel replaceable, they act replaceable, and then they leave. And that's what really happens to a lot of people in here. Now, I have the pleasure of interviewing many, not only Hall of Fame drivers and dispatchers, but just people in the industry, drivers. I see a lot of trucks. That's one of the things I love about this industry. I love that I get to stay connected to them and doing all of this thing. And recently at a PMTC conference, I had the chance to sit down with Ernie Stryker. Now, he recently won the Rick Austin Dispatcher of the Year award, and I had a chance to talk to him about his career and about how drivers and dispatchers can work together. Because from a dispatch standpoint, if your dispatcher has the attitude, and I've seen this in my career, if your dispatcher has the attitude of, I'm the boss, you do what as I say, and you get on down the road, I can tell you that your drivers are already looking at other places to leave. Right? So if your dispatch and your operations feel like it's my way or the highway, your drivers are already on the way down the highway looking for another job. So how do you do that? You got to realize that you're a team. Dispatch has to realize that they're an important piece of the puzzle. They're coordinating. They're not telling, they're coordinating. And drivers need to realize they're an important piece of that puzzle. And by working together, when I've worked with a good dispatcher, man, I can tell you what, you've made more money as a driver. And you've also, from a dispatch standpoint, you've solved a lot of problems by making sure a truck's going to be where it is. So I had a chance to sit down with Ernie Stryker to find out exactly what it's like to be a dispatcher in today's world. 35 years. And do you dispatch a certain market or a certain run, product, province? Some people have outbound dispatch, inbound. What's your role?
Yeah, I dispatch out of the St. Jacobs Distribution Center, which is the head office.
For all of Canada?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
For all of Canada. And there's also a Tasquin Distribution Center as well as Divert.
Oh, wow. You guys have a big fleet. That's a big job.
Yeah.
That's a big job.
It is a big job.
Yeah.
We've got about 60 trucks in St. Jacobs.
Okay. Yeah. I've been up to your yard there. It's pretty impressive. Now, did you used to drive before you were a dispatcher? Or?
Yeah, I drove for 21 years.
Okay.
Home hardware.
Right. Okay.
Before I moved inside.
So what was that transition like? If you can remember back to that day, was it because it's hard to go from the truck to dispatching, you want to be out there. What was it like for you?
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a transition.
A bit of a challenge.
Sure. Yeah, a bit of a challenge to you, but one advantage was that I had the experience on the road before moving inside. Right. So, and then again, learning new processes and gaining the respect of the drivers and stuff like that.
That's the hard part, right?
Yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah.
Wayne's laughing in the background. Go, oh yeah, he ain't got mine yet.
I remember the days of the little. I started driving in '82, so I remember the days of the little window, just so you couldn't choke the dispatch. That worked out. Hopefully, you had a better culture than some of the companies I work for, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. So okay. So now, did you know about becoming dispatcher of the year? How'd you find out?
Well, I heard about or was made aware of it about a month ago.
Okay, so, all right.
Or 3 weeks, yeah, about a month ago.
Okay.
They had nominated me, and then I had.
So now you're.
By far my favorite station. You're the best. Oh yeah, I love you guys.
Oh, that was a good interview with Ernie. I hope you got a lot of, as you can see, he felt the need to be in the truck first before he became a dispatcher in operations to make sure that he understands exactly what's going on. And I can encourage you that that's what people want for sure. Hey, before we go much further, let me tell you about a place that can get you on board if your company is struggling with compliance or you're not sure where you sit in today's world starting in 2026. Compliance Mentors is the place to be. Compliance Mentors, they will come to you. They'll do a full audit. They've got a number of audits they can do on your company depending on where you're having challenges. Let you know what you need to work on so that you can be successful in 2026. You've probably seen the news where a lot of companies are going out of business. A lot of them are getting swept up in inspections and being shut down. You don't want that to happen to your hard work in your trucking company. So get Compliance Mentors with a Z. Go to Compliance Mentors, mentorz.com to learn all about that. And also Driver Check. Driver Check is a great workplace safety. If you've got challenges in your plant or your carrier as far as drug and alcohol testing, or you just need more information, or you want to keep your employees healthy with cognitive testing, that kind of thing, Driver Check is a great place to go. They've got tons of resources on their website, so go to drivercheck.ca to learn all about that. All right, so what are drivers actually looking for? Well, if you want to keep them happy, it really isn't as hard as you think. Some people think, oh, they got to have the biggest truck or they got to have this. You know what? Drivers want that personal touch. You got to remember, drivers are alone 90% of the time in their workplace. So feeling like a person when you come in is a really big thing. If you can do that, you are going to go a long way to making your driver pool feel a lot better. Because you know what? You don't want the only interaction they have with you to be a negative one when they've been trying to get your load down the road all week. They do make mistakes, I'll give you that. But really what they want is they want honest expectations. Don't tell them it's only 100 miles or this far on the map or any of that crap we used to hear in the old days. You know what? If it's, you got to think, you know what, we're dispatching them, the load can get from here to there. Do they have enough time to do it? Can they do it safely? Do they have enough time for breaks? Can they do all of that? And if they're going, well, okay, yeah, you can do it safely, but then we're not going to make any money, then maybe you need to have a bigger conversation and look at the pay scale and all that kind of stuff. Because what they want is really fair pay for fair work, right? You know, they want to be compensated for what they do. There's a lot of things people don't realize. You know, people drive on vacation and go, well, this is easy. These guys must be having fun on the road, but they don't have the chance to just stop wherever they want. They don't have they're on a time limit the whole time. They're not able to just stop where it's convenient. They've got to stop at places that don't always have the most healthiest options for them. So where can they do that? Make sure your communications are clear. This is what I see a lot of the big companies doing that are really helpful. They're having clear communication with their drivers. Their drivers have a support staff that they can call if they have any problem, that is not going to just tear them out, but make sure that they've got everything they need. And they're also going to have support when safety decisions are made, and hopefully have input when safety decisions are made for what they do. Drivers want to feel like professionals, not problems, but a lot of times the attitude coming from the office is that way, unfortunately. So we need to make sure that we clear that up. All right, so there you go. So that's the end of part 1 for us. We're going to go into part 2 next time to find out why drivers are leaving. If you've got high turnover at your company, you want to make sure you listen to the next one. The best way to subscribe to all these series, just subscribe wherever you're listening to us, and that way you'll get the next series delivered right into your inbox, however you get that. All right, Appreciate it, my friends. Thanks for listening. Hey, make sure you check out our new show, Chords and Chrome, on Lead Pedal Radio. Lots of stuff has changed for 2026, so check out our socials, check out our all of our podcast stuff, and let us know what you like about this new format. We're doing series now, one topic per week, 3 episodes, a 3-part series, and it's really... a lot of people seem to like it. So let's hope you do too. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.